Hi guys, it's Adam here. I'm in the business room. I'm just in the middle of sorting some books out. My big job lot of Jacqueline Wilson books are coming probably today. They didn't come on Saturday, so yeah, they'll probably be here today. I think there is 37 books, and I've also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 more there, so about 53 books in total to sort out. Just Jacqueline Wilson. I've got some Beast Quest, I've got some stuff to sort out for an Amazon shipment, for an FBA shipment, and I've got a couple of board games to put on eBay, so it's all go really at the moment. And then hopefully go sourcing again tomorrow. So yeah, this video was suggested to me by Michael Taylor, so thanks Michael, and sorry it's taken a while to get up. I've had a load of different videos I've wanted to do, and they've taken priority, and so yeah, I've still got about 4 different videos I want to do, so this week you may see a few more videos than usual just because I want to bash them out, but it seems to be taking up quite a lot of time, YouTube, at the moment, and I need to list on eBay and stuff. But yeah, I'll make it as short as possible. So I'm going to split this into 3 areas and then maybe a little area at the end. And this video will be centered around how business principles can help reselling. So first area I'm going to talk about motivation. And there was a American psychologist called Abraham Maslow, and I forgot when he did this. I think it was the late 50s, early 60s. He wrote this paper on this theory, and it's basically a hierarchy. It's called Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it goes from your basic needs like your food and your water up to self-actualization, which is sort of the highest level of motivation. You have all your basic needs covered. You're not hungry. You've got a good working environment. You're in good working conditions. You've found love outside of your work life. You maybe have a wife, or you have some sort of sex life or something like that. And then with each thing you have, so for example on the bottom line you may have for example plenty of food, good working conditions. You then move up to the next level, and it's a pyramid, and if you type it in Google you can see this pyramid all the way up to this top level, which is you've got everything you could possibly need, so you're perfectly motivated. It is still only a theory, it's never been proven, but a lot of people have taken it on board and actually used it within business and had some success with it. So, I mean, it is getting to that stage where it could start becoming a proven theory. Now, I'm trying to relate all these to reselling, and I've done it the best I could. I've tried to work it out in my mind over the last couple of days, and the best way to relate this to reselling is when you're working, for example, whichever room you do it in, whether you're at home, whether you've got a storage unit, whether you've got a converted garage, or whatever it may be, you need to have good working conditions. You need to have you need to be not pushing yourself too hard. You need to have plenty of food, water, etc. And it's a very basic thing, but it can help you no end. I mean, if you have good working conditions and where you are working is organised and efficient, then you're going to be much more productive. So just look, if you've got time, look at that hierarchy and just sort of see how you can apply it to your business. For me, I think it would be definitely not working conditions, but organisation within the workplace I'm doing all my eBay listing and photography and stuff, because at the moment there's a lot of boxes piled up, there's bags, stock all over and it's not great. So that would be where I would apply that. And then obviously, motivation, it then extends into more personal stuff like love, and what's the other one? And sort of self-awareness, things like that. And that's more sort of personal, that's outside of your work, but it can help motivate you in your work. For example, a lot of people will be a lot more motivated to go to work if they have a family, because they have that want to sort of provide for their family, so they're actually motivated to go to work every day and bring in the bacon for the family. So that's one. Next would be, I suppose, efficiency. And there was a psychologist, I think he was a business theorist or scientific psychologist, something along those lines, called Douglas McGregor. And I imagine he did this, I can't remember the date, but I think it was 50s when he did this. Sadly, he died in 1962, 1963. He died in a car crash. That's how I remember that, by the way. But yeah, he did a couple of theories. And one of them was, he studied workers in a coal mine. I think it was 200 workers or thereabouts. And each of these workers brought in a different size shovel, because each of these individual workers had their own thoughts on how they could get the work done in the quickest manner. And he observed the people with the larger spades were doing it obviously slowly, but obviously getting more on the spade. And the people with the smaller spades were doing it quickly but getting less on the spade, as you would imagine. So scientifically, he devised the best possible spade to use, and he came up with a spade that was a certain diameter. I don't know what the diameters were, and it was around 9 kilograms in weight. Or you could fit, I think it was, you could fit 9 kilograms of weight of coal on it. Not that the actual spade was 9 kilograms. But still, I'll have to look into that again. But yeah, he basically devised this perfect spade that would be the most efficient way of doing it. And then he tested it on the 200 workers, and it proved that it worked. It was efficient, and so this massively impacts reselling. Efficiency. For me, efficiency would be, I think, getting a better photo setup, because at the moment I've got these, like, you'll probably be able to hear that. I've got these foam boards, and they keep moving. I've not got it stuck down or anything, and they keep moving around and stuff. And when I'm doing a photo, obviously, if they're moving around, I've got to reposition them, and all that time can add up. I mean, if I'm doing 50 photos or something, and I keep having to reposition things, it's just unnecessary. I think my storage could be more efficient, because at the moment I've got piles of boxes on top of my storage, so if I want any product that's in a box down there, I've got to get everything off and then get the lid off and then get it out. Oh, right, anyway, so I'm just waffling, but yeah. So efficiency, that's a big one. And looking and maybe doing a bit more research into these theorists is massively helped me in my business studies, because we have to do massive long assignments on it. And I just did one recently that was 6,000 words, and massively helped me in that area. But I've also noticed it's helped me in business, in reselling. So it's worth just a little look, just a little bit of a gander into what they're going on about and what they're talking about, because it honestly, it's really interesting as well once you dive into it and really see what these people have done and how they've worked this out. So next is invisible hand. The invisible hand is basically the market, so a certain market. There was a guy called Adam Smith, same name as me, yes. And you can see him on the back of a £20 note. Unfortunately, I've not got a £20 note with me, but it says Adam Smith, and it says 1723 to 1790, and that was when he was born and when he died. He was a massive promoter of capitalism, and basically he devised this theory, the invisible hand, and this invisible hand was basically when the supply and the demand so for example, there's a certain amount of supply, a certain amount of demand. When that was reached a certain point, it would reach something called equilibrium, which is just the optimum point. And you can see that by doing a supply and demand curve on any certain product, and you can do it for your own business. It would probably work best if you're in a wholesale business, because you wouldn't really be able to do it well with one product. But say you were selling 20 products, you could do the supply and demand curve. For example, how much supply there is on your part, how much of this stuff you can get, and what's the demand for it. Is there enough demand to satisfy supply? If there is, then you hit that equilibrium point. If there's too much demand and you can't supply enough, then you've gone the other way. And then if there's too much supply and not enough demand, then you've gone the opposite way. So you can do a supply and demand graph for that, and it's not a hard thing to do. Again, you can type that in Google. Obviously, it's something to bear in mind if you are a wholesaler, because if you are only stocking 4 lines, 5 lines of products with 500 products each, then you'll definitely want to do research into supply and demand. So anyway, Adam Smith devised this theory, and he basically said that the market will find its own price. Now, the only example I can really find of this recently, in really recent terms, there's loads of examples, but the best one I can give to you is Pieface. Now, we all know Pieface was just a run-of-the-mill game, going for your standard price in the shops, whatever it may be, £10, £20, whatever it was. And then, I think it was due to a YouTube video or something like that, demand skyrocketed. So the supply and demand curve was, it was quite nice. It was probably almost at equilibrium, and then suddenly, boom, demand goes up, supply's left down here, demand is up here, and then all of us resellers, this is what we have to do. We, as resellers, determine the market in a big way, but we don't always realise, because we don't look into it as much as maybe we need to. But demand is right up here. So so obviously, if demand is high, the price rises because supply is low. So there's not enough of it to satisfy demand. So to equal it out, people rise the price, and also all of us resellers will go out and try and get as much of this stuff as possible, and that also brings it into balance. And then boom, you hit that equilibrium point. Everything's fine and dandy for a little time, and then suddenly it goes the other way. Demand's really high now. Sorry, supply's really high now, and there's plenty of it out there, but suddenly people don't want it anymore. People have gone off it. It's a craze. Nobody wants it anymore. So then we were at equilibrium for a very short time, and then suddenly it's gone the other way. Supply's really high. We've got loads of them, or we've got enough to satisfy demand at least. Maybe not one person individually, but as a collective market, there is enough supply. But demand's gone really low. So then we have to put the price down, and then suddenly it slowly returns to equilibrium. And that is the invisible hand. No one's really set a price for the market, but due to demand and supply and our own knowledge, our own sort of knowledge of what the market will do and price and what people will be prepared to pay, it automatically reverts. And that, I think that's amazing how cool that is, how a market will always return to that point. There's some cases that the equilibrium point will go on for a very, very long time, and there's some instances where the equilibrium point will be very short, and pie face was one of those instances. But yeah, so obviously having that knowledge is that's massive, because if I know that pie face is a craze, I know exactly what the market is going to do before it's even done it. Now, I didn't in that instance because I knew I had the information, but I didn't have any pie face games, so it was nothing to me really. Now, in the future, I will be using this knowledge that I have amassed throughout the 5 years of doing business a lot more efficiently, and I could clean up. I could make loads of money. But the other part of it is, you never know when someone's going to do a YouTube video, when someone's going to advertise it on TV. You just have to try and do your research and see whether they are. So obviously, it's a hit and miss sort of thing. But once they do advertise it on TV, you have to be aware of the market, of the invisible hand, and you need to know it is going to skyrocket. Some people know this, and then we get in on it. Some people are a bit slow on the uptake, which is fine, but you know, you've lost really on it. So that's the invisible hand. That massively relates to reselling. And finally, there is a group of German psychologists, or was a group of German psychologists, I don't know whether they're alive now, who were called the Gesalt psychologists. I think I've pronounced that right. Gesalt, yeah. And the best way to explain this is, you know when you see a picture and then it's got like a face of an old lady in one half of the picture or something, and then you turn it upside down and then there's like the face of a young man. That was from their research. That's who created that. And what they were basically trying to fathom out is whether people, the way our mind works, and we always look for the whole, parts of our mind look for the whole picture. So when you first look at that, you see the whole picture first, and then suddenly your brain refines it into one of the actual images, either the old woman or the young man. Now, I just thought that added this to the end because it's a bit of fun. I thought it was quite cool, but this does relate to reselling, and it is sort of a basic relation, but it's about seeing the whole picture. Reselling is about not just focusing on one area, not just focusing on one thing at any one time. It's about seeing the whole picture, looking at all the markets you are in, looking at prices, doing research, and it really is about that. It's not about any one thing. You can put all your eggs in one basket if you want, and it may pay off, but it's a big risk. So I just thought that was quite a nice little thing to mention. And now you know where that little weird two-face thing comes from. Yeah, it was a group of German psychologists who basically studied the mind. Hope that helped. Michael, if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, comment below if you want. I hope everyone else enjoyed it, hope you got something from that. That's just a bit of my meandering experience, to quote the Sunscreen song. And if you haven't listened to that song, it's an awesome song, so go and check it out. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. As I say, I'll probably have a few videos uploaded this week. I've got Thursday talks, and I may even have a haul, so yeah, if you want to tune into my channel, you're very welcome to. Don't forget to check out my Facebook page and my website. Either links will be in the description or over on my channel page. And I will see you very, very soon. See you soon, guys. Have a good one.